Thank you very much, Faye, and a very good afternoon to you wherever and however you're listening to TalkSport 2 on Game Day exclusive. We've already brought you Nottingham Forest's sound thrashing of Brighton and Hove Albion at lunchtime over on TalkSport 7-0, and Nottingham Forest are a club that Newcastle were hoping to overhaul in some ways this afternoon. That's not going to happen courtesy of that result, but top four very much in Newcastle United's sights after a terrific run of form. The only blot on the copybook being their last outing here when Bournemouth took a trip up to the northeast and silenced the Geordie faithful. It's a massive week, as Faye's already been saying, for Eddie Howe and his team, with two big cup ties to come, the semi-final of the League Cup against Arsenal in midweek, and then an FA Cup tie at St Andrews next Saturday, both live on TalkSport. But for now, it's keeping that momentum going in the Premier League with top four, maybe top five, given the coefficients, being good enough for Champions League football to return to St James's Park next season. Standing in their way are Fulham, who are 7 points better off than they were at this time last season. Their away form's a little bit in and out. Marco Silva would have been disappointed to have surrendered all 3 points late on to Manchester United last Sunday evening. You heard that game live on TalkSport, and he is deprived of one of his most creative midfielders for the next few weeks. Harry Wilson fractured a metatarsal and is out for 10 weeks. Newcastle unchanged from the win at Southampton in their last Premier League game. Martin Dubravka in goal, Tino Livramento, Fabian Schär, Dan Burn and Lewis Hall in the back four, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali and Joe Linton in midfield, Anthony Gordon and Jacob Murphy flanking top scorer Alexander Isak up front. For Fulham, Bernd Leno is their goalkeeper, Timothy Castagna, Joachim Andersen, Calvin Bassey and Anthony Robinson in the back four, Sasa Lukic and Sander Berger are the holding midfielders, and then Adama Traore, Emil Smith-Rowe and Alex Iwobi behind Raul Jimenez in attack. And Fulham have clearly won the coin toss because they've turned Newcastle around and are making the black and white stripes of Newcastle attack the Gallowgate end to our right in the first half. We're sat in the main stand here at St James's, just behind the dugouts, just ahead of pitch level. It's a great vantage point here with the Gallowgate to our right and the Leazes End to our left. And Newcastle will get us underway, and credit to all the Fulham fans who travelled in the top two of the Leazes End. And this weekend, where, as producer Izzy was reminding me before kick-off, rail replacement services all over the east side of the country, making it nigh on impossible to get a train up to this part of the world from London, but not a spare seat up in that top tier of the Leazes End in the away section. Fulham in their change trip of, well, if Alvin Martin was with me, he'd call him Papershares. But he's on his way back from Plymouth, having worked for TalkSport this lunchtime, where Plymouth got that terrific 2-1 win against West Brom. Newcastle getting us underway, and Gordon fires the ball up to the edge of the area. Team back for Joe Linton with a drive from the edge of the box. Flag goes up for offside against Guimaraes from that build-up, but Newcastle United showing early intent inside the first minute, 0-0. Mickey Gray's with us today.
Good afternoon, Dan. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, bright start from Newcastle. So you can only worry about your own house, can't you? Newcastle have certainly done that at St James's Park. But they want to get back to winning ways here, don't they? Expectation always here at this football ground, knowing that they're trying to push towards that top four. You just got to get on with your own business and worry about Fulham, and hopefully you come away with 3 points. But it's going to be a tough test for the home side today.
Here is Raul Jimenez, who was sent off here the last time these two teams faced off in the top flight. It was given away, and Isak tried to nod the ball past Calvin Bassey in his own defensive third. Bassey, in fairness to him, got in front of Isak, and then he was pulled back by the shoulders, and the referee Chris Kavanagh gives Fulham a free kick almost at the centre of their own half. Yeah. Straight away Leicester have got the lead against Everton have got the lead against Leicester. Abdoulaye Doucouré putting them in front, and Millwall, they're 1-0 up against QPR in the London derby in the Championship. Aaron Connolly with the goal for the London Lions. Free kick to Fulham, Alex Iwobi. So consistent this season for Fulham in that left-sided position as part of the attacking four. Throw back by Bassey for Bernd Leno. Thumps it downfield, looking for Jimenez to go up, but Dan Burn, the taller man, wins the header. Drops in the centre circle for Emil Smith-Rowe. And here's Adama Traore skimming his way in field. He won't be calling for it left-hand side, but instead Jimenez feeds a neat ball out to Castagna. Right-hand side, he can keep it in play. 10 yards from the corner flag. Right-hand side, the cross is deflected, and that's a comfortable catch for Dubravka. 0-0.
Well, both sides have started the game brightly, haven't they? I was just having a brief look over there, dancing, and it was a Traore. He actually came short for the ball, but what I saw from Lewis Hall was he dropped straight back. He wasn't in his face, he wasn't pressing him, and I just wonder if that's going to be something that we'll see quite a lot of this afternoon, because in a 1v1 situation, we know in a foot race, Hall can't live with him.
Crawley 0, Wrexham 1 in League One. Matty James in midfield puts Wrexham in front. They've had a bit of a strange run, Wrexham, just 1 win in 5 in the league. QPR have equalised at Millwall. What a start at the Den. Alfie Lloyd making it 1-1. Newcastle coming forward, crossing, looking for Isak from the right-hand side. Smacked in by Murphy, and it was just slightly behind Isak, but it drifts out to the left-hand side, and Anthony Gordon cutting into the area, now at the left-hand corner of the box, turns away from his man, gets the crossing, Guimaraes with a header over the top. Lovely ball in from Anthony Gordon, and Guimaraes running onto the ball, didn't leap at it, just tried to steer a header into the top corner, but it went narrowly over the angle of post and bar. Goal kick to Fulham, 0-0.
What a start from Newcastle. I think what they try and do is get the wide players involved in the game as quick as they possibly can. Great ball in from Livramento, wasn't it? Just bounced in an awkward height for Isak to try and bring it down and get his shots away, but then the header from Guimaraes, I actually think he should do better. It's a free header. I think he's got to try and keep that below the crossbar.
Throw into Fulham. That's Mickey Gray alongside me, Ian Dante, this afternoon. Remember Adrian Durham and the team taking you around the grounds over on Talk Sport with goals as they go in from Premier League and the EFL, but our concentration here on Game Day Exclusive is this game. It's 0-0 between Newcastle United and Fulham. Raul Jimenez had the ball in possession, tried to steer it out to Adama Traore, but got it all wrong and incurred the wrath of his manager, Marco Silva, just down beneath us to our left. And Newcastle have it back in their own defensive third with Fabian Schär. Plays it back to Dubravka. Still keeping Nick Pope out the side, even though Pope is fit again and on the bench for Newcastle. Here's Bruno Guimaraes inside his own half, finds Tonali, being pressurised by Emile Smith-Rowe, who pulls him back by the jersey. You could see he was almost ripping Tonali's jersey off his back. Just a free kick given and nothing more. Walsall 0, Salford 1 in League 2. What a wobble Walsall are at the minute, the leaders, as Cole Stockton gives Salford the lead, and Newcastle get their first corner of the game as Anderson is first forced to turn the ball behind from Alexander Isak's pressure. Mickey Gray.
Yeah, I think you'll see quite a lot of that this afternoon. It's all nice seeing the pretty football from Newcastle, but that long diagonal trying to get Isak in behind is a real threat for the home team.
Gordon with the resulting corner at the Gallagher end on the far side of the field from us. Plays it short. Lewis Hall's waiting, left-hand corner of the area, gives it back to Gordon, floats the ball to the far post, punched clear strongly by Leno, and it drops out in the left full-back position where Adama Traore is then barged into by former Fulham player Dan Burn, and that's a free kick to the Cottagers. 0-0.
I think we've been having a conversation about the dark arts dance, haven't we? And Dan Burn just proven that. No chance of winning the ball against Traore there, just shoved his shoulder into him, knew he was going to give the foul away. I think we saw similar with Smith-Rowe as well, when Tonali was trying to break forward. So I think we'll kind of see a lot of that today around the centre circle, trying to slow the game down a little bit. What was interesting, wasn't it, Fabian Schär, that diagonal to Isak, trying to play alongside Anderson. I think in a foot race, Isak will fancy his chances this afternoon against him.
Free kick smacked downfield by Leno. Up go the heads. Jimenez flicks it on. Smith-Rowe can work it out to Adama Traore. Right-hand corner of the area for Fulham. Running at Hall, gets into the area. Across the face of goal, it's cleared up in the air. Brought down by Jimenez. Brought down by the dead ball line left-hand side. Works it back to Iwobi. Iwobi can't make room for the shot, so he plays a square ball across to Castagna. Back out to the Fulham right, and Traore. Faced up by two Newcastle players now. Tries to skip away from Anthony Gordon. Slightly loses his footing, but keeps possession. Hull 1, Stoke 0 in the Championship. Hull without a home win in 4, but they lead, and Leeds lead Cardiff by a goal to 0. Brendan Aronson puts Leeds ahead. Ball's trickled behind for a corner kick. It's been given. A lot of Newcastle players felt that was a goal kick, and in fact the assistant has been overruled by Chris Kavanagh. Goal kick it is And it's 0-0 here, and Shrewsbury 0, Mansfield 1 in League One. Will Evans for the Stags, who've got 4 straight defeats going into that game against League One's bottom side. 0-0, we played 7 minutes on TalkSport 2 at St James's Park. Mickey Gray.
Good start to the game. Both sides trying to show their intent in the forward positions. I think one to watch is certainly Traore alongside Lewis Hall. I think Anthony Gordon or Joe Linton are going to have to do more defending today if the game goes to plan for Fulham than they've probably ever done, or maybe certainly over the last few weeks, because in a 1v1 situation we know what Traore can bring to Fulham.
Sander Berger wins the ball back in the centre circle from Guimaraes and sends it out to Iwobi on the left-hand side. Robinson steaming on the outside of Iwobi, being used as a decoy at the minute. Now Robinson gets it, level with the edge of the box, tucks it back in field to the former Sheffield United and Burnley man Sander Berger. And he just steps away from Tonali and rolls it back to Iwobi. Everton 2, Leicester 0. Beto now gets a goal. Wow, David Moyes effecting some transformation there. And Port Vale lead Accrington Stanley by 1-0 in League 2. Jayden Stockley for the Valiants. Don't forget, Liverpool and Everton meet in midweek in that rearranged Premier League game after Storm Darragh took care of the postponement originally. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. Adama Traore for Fulham. Rolls it up to the edge of the D. Smith Rowe tucks it out to the left wing in Iwobi, trying to isolate Livramento. Early ball into the box, comfortably headed clear by Scher, but drops centre of the half. No Newcastle player anywhere near Sander Berger, but he turned and fired the ball back to the halfway line, but gets it back now from Bassi. Bassi has possession once again. Out to Iwobi, quickly down the left-hand side for Smith Rowe, who's gone out to join him. Now it's back with Alex Iwobi. Drives in field. Berger again in space, 30 yards out. Plays the square ball across to Castagna. Castagna looks for Traore. Neat football from Fulham here. Can Bassi go on the outside of Hall? Tries to get the cross in. Corner kick to Fulham at the Lees' end, 0-0.
Well, they've looked bright, haven't they, in the last few minutes, Fulham. Trying to get the ball into good areas down the wide flanks with Traore. Iwobi as well. Iwobi just ripped the ball into the box dance, 20 seconds ago, without no thought. He's got to try and pick somebody out or just put it into a more dangerous area. It's low, it hasn't got that height, so Jimenez can come and run in front of his centre-half, because I know he's a real threat in front of goal, but it's been positive from Fulham, no doubt.
So it's their corner on the right-hand side, and it will be Sasa Lukic to strike this corner right-footed for the Cottagers. Not much movement in the box. Now they will run to the near post. Fulham players, goes to Jimenez, who tries to head it towards goal. Byrne gets it half clear, comes back to Jimenez, edge of the area, being cramped for space, tries to get a shot in. Well, he did get a curling shot in, but it was way wide, and it goes behind for a Newcastle United goal kick. You listen to TalkSport 2. Eddie Howe at the edge of his technical area, right in front of our commentary position, wearing those calf-hugging tracksuit bottoms that he loves so much. What did you make of that corner routine from Fulham, Mickey?
Well, I'd be a little bit surprised to see how much space Raul Jimenez actually found himself in, because he's a threat from set pieces. Yes, he was a little bit too far away from goal to actually go direct at it, but free headers in the box is something that I know Eddie Howe works on a lot. But Newcastle over the last few minutes, Joe Linton's been dropping into the back four as a centre-half, just making it hard for Fulham when they do get into those good areas. I want to see a little bit more from Newcastle. A little bit tepid at the moment.
Well, we played 11 minutes on TalkSport 2 at St James's Park in the northeast. Bright, sunny afternoon. Barely a cloud in the sky and barely a breath of wind. Perfect for winter football. Not too cold either, thankfully. At least not now. I shouldn't say that now. In an hour's time I'm going to be regretting saying that. Here's Jacob Murphy picking the ball up right-hand side. I saw his brother Josh Murphy outstanding for Portsmouth in a losing team in midweek against Millwall live on TalkSport 2. Murphy of the Josh variety plays on the left, Jacob here playing on the right. Here's Anthony Gordon on the far side of the field being hassled and jockeyed by Traore, so it goes back into Newcastle's own half, and Scher, square ball for Dan Byrne. Fulham were his parent club for quite some time, Dan Byrne, but he spent many seasons out on loan at clubs like Wigan and Birmingham, going back a decade or so. But born in Blythe, Newcastle season ticket holder, Guess he was always destined to come here. Isak, Newcastle's top scorer, slides it down the right-hand side for Murphy, pulls it back to the edge of the area. Tonali with the back heel trying to get Guimaraes in, gives it back to Tonali. Couldn't get the ball out of under his feet to get the shot away, but it still drops for Tonali. To the byline he goes. Can he pull it back? Can't wrap his foot round it in time before it goes over the dead ball line for a Fulham goal kick. But there was lovely interplay for Newcastle at the edge of the Fulham box. 0-0.
Yeah, it was a bright move. Certainly Tonali involved in that play a lot. The lovely little touch to Isak to get them going. I thought there was a couple of occasions where they actually could have got the strike away, and it was Tonali himself. He's got a great right foot. Just get your laces through it. Try to play that extra pass, and eventually the chance had gone, but good move from the home team.
You're listening to Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Wolves against Aston Villa, live later today. Just search Now Sports. Worthing 0, Rochdale 1 in the FA Trophy, down to the last 16 in that competition. And Cairo Mitchell's given Rochdale the lead. Ties Aldershot, Altrincham, Gainsborough, Kidderminster, Oxford City, Southend and Spennymoor as well this afternoon in the FA Trophy. Everton 2-0 up in the Premier League on Leicester, and earlier today Nottingham Forest 7 brackets SEVEN close brackets Brighton 0.
What a result that is.
Any Brighton fans want to dare ring up Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy after that tonight? I mean, sometimes that's a result that puts a manager under severe pressure. I don't sense that's the case for Mr. Hertzler at Brighton.
Yeah, I agree.
Here's Alex Iwobi for Fulham, trying to toe-poke the ball through for the run of Lukic at the edge of the area. Only half cleared by Newcastle, so the purple shirts of Fulham have it back. AFC Wimbledon 1, Bradford 0. James Tilley for the Dons, who are 6 unbeaten. That's a good game, 6 against 4 at the start of the day in League 2 today. Now Anthony Gordon looking to set Jacob Murphy away, right hand side, got him behind Robinson, and as he was running out of room to the right hand corner of the area, he just fancied lashing a shot goalwards, but it was way wide and no trouble for Bernd Leno. 0-0.
What a chance. Really good opportunity there. Lewis Hall doing very well. This time he was pressed up against Traore. He won the ball back, used his strength. That quick little pass into Anthony Gordon, a look up. He knew the run was going to be there from Murphy, but could he have taken a touch? I thought he should have tried to just run that one into the box, Dan. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah, I think he just fancied going for the spectacular. Leeds 2, Cardiff 0. Manor Solomon puts Leeds further in front. Cardiff are in decent form. They're 8 unbeaten under Omar Risa, but Leeds starting the day top, going to stay top, it seems. Last night on TalkSport 2, Blackburn got themselves back into the Championship playoffs with a 2-1 win against Preston. And myself and Mickey are going to be at Turf Moor on Tuesday night for Burnley against Oxford. Oxford drew today against the 9 men of Bristol City. Had 20 shots at goal today, Oxford, but could only score 1, and Bristol City managed to get a point out of it.
Doing really well, isn't he?
Yep.
Very well. Just being in there. Very good job he's done so far.
That's our offering Tuesday night for you on TalkSport 2, your home of the EFL. Morecambe 1, Fleetwood 0 in that ding-dong derby at the Globe Arena. Callum Cook for the Shrimps, who are on the back of 4 straight defeats but lead their local rivals. And Leyton Orient 0, Stockport County 1. Kyle Wotton puts Stockport ahead at Brisbane Road. 3 straight wins for the Hatters going into that one. Fulham have just been awarded a free kick, just shy of the halfway line. 16 minutes gone on TalkSport 2. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. And although neither keeper's been severely tested, as Mickey Gray's already intimated, it's been a very bright game. Lots of neat passing and approach work. It's just the final effort that's lacking at the moment, Mickey.
Well, in Fulham's case, I think, I was looking for something different. Dan just nearly got caught on the ball there themselves as I was speaking, but I've been impressed with the way that they've just handled the game. They haven't panicked, they've got themselves into good areas.
Guimaraes nods a lovely cushion header out to Isak left hand side, and he's been barged over, and a yellow card for Joaquin Anderson for going in on Alexander Isak. Free kick to Newcastle United at pretty much at the left hand corner of the penalty area. 0-0.
Well, it's a blatant foul, isn't it, from Joachim Andersen there. And if you remember, Dan, I think we were at the Manchester City game, we had this conversation about defenders picking up early yellow cards, and Andersen's just picked up a yellow card. He would start to put a lot more pressure on him now and maybe entice him into making that second challenge. and that is a bad foul to make. Newcastle are really in a good area here now, and they've looked dangerous at set pieces so far in the game.
So a free kick to Newcastle United. The left-hand corner of the penalty area. Gordon and Hall are standing over it. Gordon with a right-footed effort looks the most likely. It is whipped into the near post looking for Byrne. It was well headed clear by Timothy Castagna. Comes out to the right-hand side and Jacob Murphy. Murphy tucks the ball in field to Guimaraes, gives it back to Murphy at the byline, loops the ball high to the far post. Byrne goes up with a header. It drops around the penalty spot. Joaquin Anderson gets it half clear, and then Iwobi wants a handball, not given. Newcastle have it back. Centre of the half. Striding forward is Fabian Schär, who has to shoot by one or two. He likes the spectacular goal on occasion, does Fabian Schär, but Fulham bring the ball clear. Iwobi tucks it back for Smith Rowe, and now Bassey has it, striding purposefully forward, slips it into Anthony Robinson, the assist king of Fulham, is on his bike and into the Newcastle half. Jimenez wants it to feet, 30 yards out, gets it to feet, gets the ball away from danger, and it's shovelled out to Iwobi now on the right hand side. Can he get the cross in? It's blocked by the thigh of Lewis Hall and out for a throw-in, 0-0.
Well, what a chance to break for Fulham. Anthony Robinson, he had acres of space in front of him, and I thought his pass into Jimenez was very poor. There's no thought behind it. He should have waited till he was closed down. He could have had a nice little give and go. We know in a 1v1 foot race, nobody's really going to keep up with him. He's got wonderful ability, and his assist this season, that was a let-off for Newcastle. It really was.
He is, as we've been saying, the assist king for Fulham. Anthony Robinson, 9 in the Premier League this campaign. Nobody has got as many as that across the 20 teams.
It is, I mean, it's excellent. He's asked to do a job, isn't he, Dan? Defend first, but when you get the opportunity...
Ball given away. Jimenez wins it back. Middle of the Newcastle half, tries to turn inside Joe Linton. Has to work it out left, and Iwobi will keep it in play on this near side, with Fulham in their purple away strip attacking the Lees' end to our left in this first half. That's where their supporters are high up with the bird's eye view of their team in attack, with Sander Berger, centre of the Fulham half. Just floats a diagonal ball into the area, looking for the run of Raul Jimenez, but Byrne spotted it, but they only get it half clear, Newcastle. Iwobi, and now Adama Traore dancing down the right hand side of the box, ball into the box, punched right up in the air by Dubravka. Where's that going to drop? Drops for Iwobi, does it? No, it's one back by Bruno Guimaraes, and he drifts away for one challenge, pulled back by Anthony Robinson, and he gets a yellow card for Fulham to add to Joaquin Anderson's yellow just a few minutes ago. 0-0 it remains.
Well, no doubt it's a yellow card from Guimaraes. He's trying to break out after another good move from Fulham, but they just seem half a yard sharper at the moment, the away side. They're getting to the ball quicker. Newcastle are starting to make a few little sloppy mistakes trying to play out from the back. Another great ball in from Traore over on that right hand side, I have to say. Dubravka's probably got Dan Byrne in front and thinking, is my centre half going to head this, or do I have to make a decision to come and punch it? Which he did, but it wasn't too effective.
Mickey Gray alongside me, Ian Danter this afternoon. Mickey, former Sunderland and England fullback. Ball's out on the left hand side for Newcastle, work back to the halfway line. Sunderland not playing today. Monday night indeed. Swansea 0, Coventry 1. Ellis Sims puts Coventry ahead at the Swansea.com stadium. Luke Williams has had quite a lot to say about some of the abuse that him and the Swansea coaching staff have been getting on social media with the run that the Swans are on. No winning 6 for them. And Oxford City lead Forest Green in the National League. Dundee 0, Hearts 2 in Scotland. You're up to date on Talk Sport 2. Give you score lines from the Premier League and the EFL. Sunderland still in the automatic hunt for promotion. Might as well talk about it.
They are, Dan. Well, I think you look at Leeds, you look at Burnley, and I suppose Sheffield United as well. I think they're probably just a little bit stronger. But talking about Isidore, weren't we, before we came on out? He just signed a contract, so they've kept him there, which I think is a great signing for the club.
That's good business. Alex Iwobi for Fulham at 0-0. We played 21 minutes on Talk Sport 2. Iwobi clips the ball into the box, looking for the player to make the run across the goalkeeper, but it went straight through to Martin Dubravka. Lovely ball round the corner from Gordon. Oh, and he's on his bike, to get the return from Joe Linton and motor into the Fulham half. He's got the legs to beat Castagna, gets to the byline. Can he pull it back for a teammate? Well, he pulls it back intelligently, but only found Sander Berge. What a run, fully 60 yards from Anthony Gordon, showing Castagna a clean pair of heels.
Yeah, fantastic. It's what you want from me wide players, positivity, showing great energy and great pace. You could see as he was running with the ball, he looked up 2 or 3 times. Isak made that run towards the near post. He was waiting for it. Eventually pulled a decent ball back to the edge of the area, but there was no Newcastle player there waiting to try and get on the end of it.
Leno clearing quickly from inside his 6-yard box with Isak closing him down. Played up to Iwobi, went to ground right in front of our commentary position, claiming he was shoved by Fabian Schär. Looked imploringly at the ref, who said nothing. Ipswich 0, Southampton 1 in the Premier League. Joe Aribo for the bottom side with only 6 points to their name in that grudge match at Portman Road between the bottom 2 sides in the table. And Everton Leicester also 2 teams in the lower reaches. For Everton, as you've heard, 2-0 up already. No goals at the Vitality between Bournemouth and the leaders Liverpool. Keep you updated with that as we go throughout the afternoon here on TalkSport 2. Midway through the first half, Newcastle United 0, Fulham 0. Mickey Gray.
Well, 23 minutes, 24 minutes on the clock. If I was Eddie Howe, I think I'd be having a little quiet word with Livramento and Lewis Hall, because I think there's been too many crosses come into the box from a Fulham perspective. It's too easy for Iwobi to whip that ball into the box, and on the other side with Traore, you know what you're going to get. There's no question when they break themselves, the home side, they look a real threat. Isak's got to get involved in the game a little bit more. We haven't really talked about Guimaraes too much yet in the game. Where's Joe Linton?
He has been quiet, as Sasa Lukic actually just won a midfield battle for Fulham. Adama Traore, he's trying to get in behind Lewis Hall, and he's not slow. Adama Traore, a couple of step overs, crosses to the far post over the head of Iwobi, but Robinson can pick it up for Fulham down the left hand side of the box, clips it into the area. Burn heads clear, only to the edge of the box. Lukic tries to touch it down for Berge, but Newcastle get a foot in the way and it's cleared up to the halfway line, but Fulham have it back. Robinson under pressure from 2 players in black and white shirts, but it's calmly worked back into the Fulham half for the 2 centre-halves, Bassi and Anderson.
There's another 2 crosses. Just came into the box stance from a Fulham perspective. It's happening too many times, and there'll be a moment when Raul Jimenez gets away from his marker. He's got his confidence back, and he's got an eye for goal at the moment, and he'll be searching for it. Newcastle are a little bit sloppy, coming out and playing out from the back. They give the ball away a lot.
And Fulham are coming forward again, down the left-hand side this time with Anthony Robinson. Plays a right-footed ball into the box, but straight onto the chest of Guimaraes, who plays it down the right-hand side. Livramento sees the ball come across his body, but he can't get past Calvin Bassi. Slab of granite on halfway for Fulham.
Brilliant.
Steps in the way and wins the ball back.
Brilliant defending from Bassi there. You could see that his fullback Robinson was in a bit of a sticky situation, got caught out going forward. Bassi comes across, keeps his body strong, just waited for Livramento, tried to nick the ball past him. Fantastic centre-half play.
Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. 25 minutes played on TalkSport 2 in this intriguing Premier League game. And just as they did last season when I was here for the corresponding fixture, Fulham have shown a great deal of endeavour for the away side. Long ball forward looking for Sasa Lukic, comfortably headed clear by Byrne. Joe Linton got the better of Sander Berge that time, and now he's motoring over the halfway line, Joe Linton. Lukic trying to stay with him, out to Gordon, left-hand side. Gets inside the area, left-hand side, lays it back to Joe Linton. Space to shoot, dummies to shoot, turns back onto his left, gives it to Gordon. But the ball was almost too far to Gordon's right, and as he tried to wrap his foot round it, came off his toe end and behind at the Gallagher end for a Fulham goal kick, 0-0.
Well, a great opportunity, wasn't it, for Newcastle on the break there. When Joe Linton played that ball back to Anthony Gordon, just had too much pace on it. You could see Gordon was setting up to hit it first time, but if you fire it in too quickly, then he just can't set himself. He was always going to fire over the top of the crossbar.
Millwall 2, QPR 1. Luke Cundle has just arrived on loan at the Den, puts the Lions back in front, and Hibs 1, Aberdeen 0 in Scotland. Iwobi's just been caught off the ball, and Marco Silva says that's the 3rd time he's been caught and no yellow card has been given.
I think he's going to get one now, Dan.
He's going to get a yellow card if he's not careful.
Very, very lucky Joe Linton. There was a challenge early on in the game. He shoulder barged, I think it was Lukic, and he got away with that one. But on this occasion, I think the referee did the right thing. He tried to play on, didn't he, Chris Kavanagh? But he's very, very lucky. Marco Silva is going absolutely crazy, and rightly so. I think he should have been given a yellow card.
Marco Silva wasn't given a yellow card either, despite getting right in the ear of Rob Jones, who's now having a word with Stuart Gray, one of Marco's assistants, presumably to say, could you just calm your boss down a minute?
It's understandable at times, isn't it, how managers get so irate when they see things like that.
I wouldn't want to be a fourth official for all the tea in the world.
No.
Anthony Gordon plays the ball up to the edge of the area. Isak touches it out to Hall, left-hand side for Newcastle. With the Magpies attacking the Gallagher end that they normally like to do in the second half. Shares in possession again, up to the edge of the area. Gets it back on the 1-2 at the edge of the area with Guimaraes, and it was blocked by Bernd Leno. Lovely interplay again, and this time Newcastle have had their first gilt-edged chance of the afternoon from the unlikely source of Fabian Schär, 0-0.
Yeah, it was a good move, wasn't it? They were all expecting him to shoot from 30 yards out, but that lovely little give and go.
Lukic nearly slipped the ball through to Raul Jimenez with a pass on the halfway, then he's caught by Tonali, and the referee is just telling Tonali to calm down. And again, Marco Silva eyeballs the fourth official. Why isn't he getting a yellow card when two of my players have been booked?
Yeah. Well, Lukic has been in the wars a little bit, hasn't he? It's normally him thrashing it out.
Yes.
He's got a lot of yellow cards this season, hasn't he? But I think it's understandable. He did clever there, didn't he? He knew he was going to get pressed and closed down, the little dink over the top of Tonali's feet. But that opportunity, just moments prior to that, from Fabian Schär, I just think he needed to believe in himself a little bit more, Dan. That was a big chance.
Iwobi down the left-hand side for Fulham, trying to isolate Livramento, just clips it back to Robinson, and then Berger works it back out to Iwobi, just lifts the ball into the penalty area, volleyed away by Schär, throw in. It's currently Newcastle 0, Fulham 0. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of TalkSport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Newcastle to win at 3-4, Fulham 17-5, the draw priced at 13-5. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Need to show me a little bit more Newcastle, dance. I've got to be brutally honest with you. I know Schär's just had a big opportunity for the home side, but there's not that crispness about them, and full credit to Fulham.
I think that's the reason. I think it's Fulham's performance in these opening 30 minutes that have actually put Newcastle a bit more on the back foot. Now, Jimenez trying to get him behind from a long ball over the top, and he is in behind, down the left-hand side of the area, gets the shot away with his right, but screws it across the face of goal. It doesn't go behind for a goal kick. Hall can clear it downfield, and then Castagna heads it infield to keep it away from Gordon. Good strong header from Joe Linton, but that was just a simple long ball over the top that nearly caught out, well, it did catch out Newcastle United, Mickey.
Yeah. And again, centre-half and full-back, Livramento and Schär just switching off. Raul Jimenez, yes, he's got a change of pace, but he's not the quickest striker in the world. And I think because he was trying to get it onto his right foot, the angle was very tight, wasn't it? I mean, his shot stayed in play, didn't it? But that is a move from a striker where you're just playing on his shoulder, waiting to try and get your little half a yard. What's that long ball? Goalkeeper to centre-forward. It sometimes works.
Fulham have a free kick at 0-0, half an hour gone, just over the halfway line. And Lukic will tuck it back for his two centre-halves to have possession. Harrogate 1, Crewe 0 in League 2. Josh March puts Harrogate ahead. And Luton lead at Sheffield Wednesday. I can hear Faye screaming with delight from here. Alfie Doughty putting Luton ahead at Hillsborough. No win in 8 for the Hatters. 7 of those are defeats. Could Matt Bloomfield be getting his first victory as the new manager? Guimaraes, lovely skill in the centre circle, but an uncompromising challenge from Calvin Bassey wins it back. Not for the first time this afternoon. And now Adama Traore trying to go on the outside of Hall. Good ball into the area. Jimenez wanted the header, but it was well dealt with a flick header away by Schär. Iwobi picks it up left-hand side for the Cottagers. He plays the cross in, and that's a very comfortable catch for Dubravka. And you can hear around us at St James's Park a bit of a come on from the fans for Newcastle United, who are being got in behind more times than they would care to like to see here.
How good has Calvin Bassey been? He's been absolutely outstanding so far in this game. He's not given Isak a moment to think. Great sliding challenge, then in a foot race down the Newcastle's left-hand side, shrugs them off, wins the ball, keeps the ball in play. Fantastic.
Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 1. Mo Salah with a penalty. Here's Livramento coming forward for Newcastle, stepping in from the right-hand side. Oh, great foot in, this time from Anthony Robinson to dispossess a Newcastle player. And once again, Fulham trying to counter-attack. Down the left-hand side with Alex Iwobi, up against Murphy this time. Just lifts it into the air, but that's a poor ball from Iwobi, and he knows it. Trying to find Smith Rowe, but hit it too straight, went straight behind for a goal kick. 0-0.
Yeah, he's just been a little bit wasteful, hasn't he, Iwobi, with his final ball into the area.
And a foul now by Sanderberger on Bruno's. Again, Newcastle were being pressurised in their own defensive third. Free kick to the home side. Ipswich equalise against Southampton. Liam Delap making it 1-1 at Portman Road. Doncaster lead MK Dons by a 0-0 in League 2. 3 straight wins for Donny, starting the day in second. And Northampton lead Huddersfield. Just 1 win in 10 for the Cobblers, but Sam Hoskins has given them the lead against playoff chasing Terriers. 0-0 here. 12 minutes to half-time. Ian Dancer and Mickey Gray with you on a lovely afternoon on Tyneside, but the locals aren't enjoying the weather that much. They're not enjoying the game that much because Fulham are showing plenty of wherewithal. Coming forward, it's Iwobi down the left-hand side, gets the better of Livramento, crossing for Traore with a header. Well, he got up so strongly and the header went wide in the end. But once again, Newcastle allowed the ball to be sent into the penalty area, and Fulham are getting closer and closer here.
Look, it's great for Jacob Murphy and Anthony Gordon when they pick up the ball in the opposition's half and start working their magic. But there's also another part to your job, is helping out your fullbacks. And Livramento and Lewis Hall need a bit of help. They're getting too many crosses into the box, Fulham, and they're just waiting for that bit of quality. I mean, Traore's not known for his heading there, but the leap above his marker, he couldn't get enough leverage and pace and power on it just to threaten to grab in that Newcastle goal. But they've been fantastic, the away side so far.
Clearly they're the words of a former left-back for club and country who would love to have a whinge at his left winger for not getting back to help him enough. Who was worse? Come on, who was worse for not helping you out? See, I've got you there. Isak down the left-hand side of the areas. Newcastle take a quick free kick. Plays it across the face of goal, headed out by Robinson. Back defending in front of his 6-yard line. Comes out Tonali, hits the bar with a rasping drive. What an effort from Sandro Tonali. Scored at Southampton last week. So near to getting his first Premier League goal at St James's Park. And it was only the woodwork that prevented it. What a fantastic hit. But it comes to nothing, stays 0-0. And now there's a yellow card for Dan Burn for the challenge on Calvin Bassey. And Bassey needs attention for a facial injury. 0-0. Talk us through that hit. Oh, Mickey Gray.
Wow, what a strike. It's come out of nowhere, hasn't it? It's just a through ball. Eventually finds its way to the edge of the area to Tonali. But it's bouncing at a perfect height for him. And he's just running onto it, isn't he? Great first touch, but wow, what a strike. Yes, there's a couple of Newcastle players in an offside position, so it might have been questioned, but my goodness, how close can you get?
Stays Newcastle 0, Fulham 0 on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van. Got some live boxing for you tonight from 9 p.m. at Wembley Arena. Adam Azim versus Sergey Lipinec in the light heavyweight division. A lot of noise being made around Britain's Adam Azim. Adam Catchell and the team will be there, full commentary on that big fight tonight at Wembley Arena. And then we've got the 4th T20 International on Sunday on TalkSport 2 here from 12:30. England have lost the series. It's the 5th and final one. India already 3-1 up. And Steve Harmison is alongside Mickey, myself and Izzy, our producer this afternoon, is heading off to India in a couple of days' time to be part of our team for the one-dayers when they kick in as part of our exclusive commentary rights. Newcastle 0, Fulham 0, but it's Newcastle coming forward. Anthony Gordon, great run into the area, across the base of goal. Murphy! 1-0 Newcastle! And that all came from Anthony Gordon, showing his pace and quality down the left-hand left-hand side, the cross from the left, missed out Alexander Isak, but no bother. Jacob Murphy running in at the far post and fired it almost through Bernd Leno and into the net. 8 minutes to half-time. Newcastle been under pressure, but take the lead. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0.
But what do they say? When you're on top and you've got to keep the pressure on, you've got to try and put the ball in the back of the net. Fulham haven't done that. And it just needed one opportunity for Anthony Gordon just to break down that left-hand side. He's done really well, kept it low, thought it was going to fall to Isak, but Jacob Murphy kept his run going down that right-hand side. And it's a simple little finish in the end from him. No pressure on him, just has to lock his ankle and fire it into the back of the net. Against the run of play a little bit, but Newcastle don't care. Great finish.
On his 200th Newcastle United appearance, Jacob Murphy puts the Magpies in front. And I think if there's any example, I mean, Miguel Almiron has now been sold back to Atlanta in MLS, and Jacob Murphy is one of the reasons why Miguel Almiron is no longer part of the furniture here at St James's Park.
Yeah, he's been fantastic, isn't he?
But here come Fulham trying to respond. They're a goal down, but they've been making plenty of opportunities, and Iwobi wins a corner at the Lees' end. Wigan 1, Lincoln City 0 in League 1. Tranmere 0, Colchester 2 in League 2. Lyle Taylor putting Colchester further in front. But it's Jacob Murphy's goal, and Wycombe Wanderers second in League 1, lead at Cambridge. Cameron Humphreys gives them the lead at the Abbey. Short corner for Fulham. Smith Rowe down the left-hand side of the area, rolls it back into midfield for Alex Iwobi. Now Lukic gives it back to Iwobi. Another cross comes into the area, this time headed clear by Guimaraes. Comes out to Robinson, trying to drive from the edge of the D, blocked at source by Guimaraes, but it's worked out to the right-hand side. Anderson, lovely ball into the area, 3 went up for it, and nobody could get on the end of it. And it's Murphy in a right-back position, the goal scorer, who's brought it away. Up to halfway, but loses out. Iwobi has it again for Fulham, trying to go on the outside of Livramento, but that's good defending from Tino Livramento. Gets up to the halfway line, Isak to his right, and he's gone again for the return, Livramento, and he's into the area, he's away from his defender, and it's a great save by the right boot of Bernd Leno to stop Newcastle going 2-0 up.
Wow, what a run from Livramento. Done brilliant to win the ball back in his own half from Iwobi, but then continued his run, the little give and go, kept his run going. Looked like he didn't want to shoot at the beginning, but got his strike away, and that goes down as a great save.
Now at the other end, it's Raul Jimenez going for goal. It's blocked by Fabian Schär just inside the area. Poor clearance from Newcastle. Iwobi has it again. 5 minutes to half-time. Newcastle 1 up, but Fulham pressing again. This time it's Emil Smith Rowe down the left-hand side of the box. Rolls it in field for Sander Berger. Strokes it just to his left for Anthony Robinson. Robinson up to the edge of the box, looking for Jimenez for a little 1-2 give and go. Guimaraes tried to bring it away. Robinson's done well to keep it in play. And not only that, but he's dispossessed Isak, who looked favourite to win the ball back.
Well played. Bruno Guimaraes has got a problem here as well. He was just trying to play that ball out from the back.
Well, it's not a head injury, so the referee doesn't have to stop play necessarily, but he's decided to give us a break in play anyway, so that the Newcastle number 39 can get some treatment. 1-0 to Newcastle United. We're in the last 5 minutes of normal time at the end of this first half. In the Premier League, Liverpool lead at Bournemouth, Everton 2-0 up against Leicester, and it's 1-1 at Portman Road between the bottom two sides, Ipswich and Southampton. 1-0 here. Monday night we've got a choice of live commentaries for you across the TalkSport network. Your London derby between Chelsea and West Ham on TalkSport for Monday night game night, and Middlesbrough against Sunderland is live on TalkSport 2 at the same time. Just get the app downloaded and you can swipe easily between our two games. And Monday night is also transfer deadline day, and at 10 o'clock on TalkSport on Monday night, Jim White and Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent, will guide you through to when the window shuts and what last minute deals will be done. Will that Marcus Rashford loan deal to Aston Villa that is being mooted heavily today, will that happen before we get to midnight on Monday night? Well, best place to stick around and find out is with us on the TalkSport network. Northampton 2, Huddersfield 0 in League One. Tom Eaves for Northampton, and it's 1-1 in the local derby on the Fylde Coast. Morecambe 1, Fleetwood 1. James Bolton equalises for Fleetwood. 1-0 here, and we're back underway at St James's Park. Fulham behind, but have been really in this game. Here's Alex Iwobi, touching the ball in field for Sander Berger, just stepping away from Tonali. 30 yards out, to his right is Jimenez, up to the edge of the area. Lukic teases it out to the right wing for Traore. Left-footed ball into the box, headed up and out, but only half cleared by Livramento. Robinson plays a bit of head tennis at the edge of the area, drops on the chest of Joe Linton, can't get it clear. Fulham have it again. Guimaraes now back on the field after his injury, and he's in space to pick the ball up right-hand side. Isak's on his bike through the middle. That's who he's looking for, Guimaraes, and he brings it down superbly, but back comes the defender, Timothy Castagna, as Isak was pirouetting about 25 yards out. Not quite like Bergkamp against Dabizas all those years ago on this ground, but just as he was trying to get the ball under his spell, across came the full-back, and it stays 1-0 Newcastle.
Yeah, it wasn't far away from that dance, was it? We know he's got it in the locker, Isak. It was actually a very good first touch, but Castagna's done really well to help out his centre-half and get back into position.
Is there a centre-forward with a better first touch in this division than Isak? That goal at Southampton last week.
Special, wasn't it? Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Well, I'm racking my brain and I can't think of many. Got to be honest with you.
I never found out who was the worst left winger you played with who never tracked back and helped you out.
Well, he wasn't a bad left winger, but probably I would say Alan Johnson, who went back to Rangers, the Scottish winger. He never used to like defending, but because he scored so many goals and set so many up, I let him off at times, so it was all right.
Well, the Newcastle fullbacks have ridden out the storm so far from the pressure they've been under from Iwobi and Traore, and they do lead Newcastle by a goal to 0. Jacob Murphy with 3 this season in the Premier League, and almost as many assists as Anthony Robinson on the opposing side. 8 assists in this campaign for Jacob Murphy. There's another reason why he's kept his place in that front 3 for the hosts.
Yeah, and he does his bit for the team as well, Dance, doesn't he? He works ever so hard, knows his job, just gets on with it.
Yeah, he was back in the right back position not so long ago, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Tidying up when there was another cross coming into the box. We're in the last minute of normal time. Fulham in possession inside their own half. Berger under pressure from Joe Linton has to swing the ball back to Leno, the keeper. Back to find out how much additional time we've got at the end of this first half. Traore just gets the better of Hall in the centre of the Newcastle half. Has to spin to get away from Dan Burn. Out to the right-hand side, and Lukic. Early ball into the box, and it's deflected. Out for a goal kick in the end. Jimenez just couldn't get onto the loose ball. 3 minutes of additional time is what we have moved into now on TalkSport 2 with the score. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 0. Stoke have equalised at Hull. Ali Al-Hamadi on loan from Ipswich Town gets his first goal for his new loan club to equalise at the MKM. Goal kick to Martin Dubravka away to our left for Newcastle. Thumps it right-footed down the left channel. That's where the goal came from. And Joe Linton picks it up left-hand side. Gordon has it on that left-hand side, running at Castagna once again. Clips the ball in field, headed away by Berger. Traore, facing his own dead ball line, has to give the ball back to the centre-half, Joaquin Anderson. Up it goes to Jimenez. One back by Anthony Gordon. Little back heel back to him from Guimaraes. Now Jacob Murphy. Twinkle toes from him at the edge of the Fulham box, but one back by the away side. Neat little ball round the corner from Jimenez. Smith Rowe is caught late by Joe Linton, but the referee's waving play on, and then a poor pass intended for Jimenez. And Smith Rowe's back on his feet, and so too Joe Linton, and it comes to nothing. And the ball's back in the Newcastle back line, 0-0.
He has to get a yellow card. Joe Linton has got to be given a yellow card. That's 4 fouls he's made in the first half.
Again, I think that's the point that Marco Silva is slightly more gently making to the 4th official than he was earlier in the half. But the ball hasn't gone out of play, so the yellow card may still be coming. Because here's Iwobi keeping the ball in play for Fulham, looking for an equaliser. Good ball into the box, headed up and not particularly out by Cher. Joe Linton onto the loose ball, rolls it into the feet of Guimaraes, and now Marco Silva's going potty at his own players for allowing Joe Linton to bring it away, but Guimaraes nudged off the ball by Sander Berge. Now down the right-hand side of the box, Jimenez tries to get the shot in, it's blocked by a leg, and then Gordon actually makes sure it's a free kick, and there will be a yellow card. And referee Chris Cavanagh's just looking to see where Joe Linton is on the pitch.
He's hiding a little bit, isn't he? I think he knows exactly what's coming, Joe Linton, but it just had to come. We talk about the dark arts. That's 4 occasions, Dance, where his midfield marker has run off his shoulder and he's had to drag him down to the ground. On this occasion, he's pointing back at the referee, maybe complain that he's been given that yellow card. Well, stop making the fouls. Do your job right in the first place, get yourself into a proper position, and you won't find yourself in the referee's book.
1-0 to Newcastle. Oh, for goodness sake. Birmingham 0, Rotherham 1. Sam Nombi for the Millers at St Andrews.
I think they're all trying to stay fit for next week.
Hey, we've got the Football League trophy in Stevenage to go. That's what they're staying fit for.
Yes,
we want the double, but we are losing to the Millers, who had only their first defeat in 8 last time out, Rotherham. But Birmingham City 16 unbeaten. Here come Newcastle United, streaming forward at the end of the half with Anthony Gordon, left hand corner of the area. Joe Linton on the overlap, tries to pull the ball back, corner kick, but it won't be taken because it's going to be half time from Chris Kavanagh. He waves his arms, no more time to play. Jason Tyndall not particularly happy with the fact that a corner won't be taken, but he should be happy that the home side are ahead at the break, because Fulham have shown plenty in that first half. But in the end, Martin Dubravka was not tested in the Newcastle goal. Neither particularly was Bernd Leno. Fabian Schär had an effort that was blocked by the Fulham keeper after a neat 1-2 with Guimaraes at the edge of the area. But just as we thought we were going to edge into half-time with a goalless game, up popped Jacob Murphy on his 200th Newcastle appearance after another lung-busting run down the Newcastle left from Anthony Gordon. His pullback missed out Isak, found Murphy at the far post, who slammed it home to bring us a half-time score at St James's Park of Newcastle United 1, Fulham 0. Thank you, Faye. Well, Fulham have scored in 17 of their last 19 away in the Premier League, so chances are they might find their way onto the score sheet this afternoon. So the one that Newcastle have, not necessarily enough at the moment. No changes at the turnaround, so Fulham in their all-purple third-choice kit will get things back underway, and they're attacking from left to right as we look just behind the dugouts here at St James's Park. To our right, the Gallagher end that Fulham are attacking in this second period. To our left, the taller Lees' end that Newcastle will be heading towards in their traditional black and white striped shirts with black shorts and socks. And straight away, Adama Traore gets inside Lewis Hall into the area, still wriggling his way. Was tried to shoot with the outside of his right boot, got no power behind it, and Newcastle were able to clear. Some early intent once again from the visitors, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, it's just wasteful again, Dance, isn't it? It's more like the first half, and I hope that changes from a Fulham perspective, because it's a great ball, isn't it, from back to front. Anderson, Traore in that foot race yet again, super first touch, but why is he not striking it with his left foot?
Now here's Castagna playing the ball up to the edge of the area. Smith Rowe, first time shot straight at the goalkeeper, Dubravka. And that's the first time I think that Dubravka's really been called into action in this game, because we were discussing it, myself, Mickey, producer Izzy and Steve Harmison, who's doing the updates for Talk Sport this afternoon. 20 crosses for Fulham in that first half.
Well, it just shows how wasteful they've been. That's their first shot on target as well. It's incredible.
Now Tonali bursting over halfway for Newcastle, sliding it down the left-hand side of the box for Isak. Nobody up there with him. Now Tonali joins in. Gordon now has it left-hand corner of the penalty area. And the offside flag's gone up against the Newcastle player, presumably Isak. And so a free kick to Fulham, who travel to Wigan next in the FA Cup. You're there, aren't you?
Yes.
Exciting up for that FA Cup side.
I am indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Oh,
and Anthony Gordon just having a bit of a shove against Joaquin Anderson, because Anderson wanted to place the ball down. He's clearly stolen a couple of yards by rolling the ball forwards just to wind up the locals that little bit more. Early goal in the second half for Swindon, who doubled their lead at Carlisle. Carlisle 0, Swindon 2, Aaron Drinnen with the second for Ian Holloway's men. Ball floated up to halfway, looking for Iwobi now on the far side. I'm running through the lineups just quickly. Newcastle with Dubravka in goal, Livramento, Scher, Byrne and Hall, Guimaraes, Tonali, Joelinton, Murphy, Gordon, Isak. For Fulham, Leno in goal, Castagna, Anderson, Bassi, Robinson, Lukic and Berger, Traore, Smith Rowe, Iwobi and Jimenez. Keep you updated with goals going in elsewhere. Everton went 3-0 up on Leicester right on half-time. Liverpool 1-0 up at Bournemouth, who had a goal ruled out for VAR. And here come Fulham with Emile Smith Rowe up to the edge of the area, left-footed drive, great save. Dubravka comes out to Traore, right-hand side of the area, tries to tee up Berger at the edge of the area, but it was telegraphed and picked off quite comfortably by Bruno Guimaraes. And then a foul on Anthony Gordon gives Newcastle a chance to clear their lines, but Smith Rowe has had two sighters from distance at Martin Dubravka. This one really well saved, 1-0.
Yeah, the second opportunity was a lot better, wasn't it? Got a little bit more sting behind his shot, winning the ball in that centre circle from Tonali, who went into a challenge a bit half-hearted, I have to say. But then the follow-up again, Traore, can he put the ball back into the box first time? He has that first touch, which gives Newcastle a chance to get themselves back into position.
1-0 to Newcastle. 3 minutes gone, second half. Anthony Gordon, who created the first, gets the cross into the near post, but it's cleared away by a combination of Anderson and Castagna. Jimenez receives the ball midway point of his own half, being pressurised by Byrne. And Jimenez felt he was fouled. In the end, a throw has gone Fulham's way. Castagna wants to take it. Bromley 0, Grimsby 1 in League 2. Danny Rose for Grimsby. Both of those sides no winning 5 in League 2. Oh, and it's going bad to worse for Derby County. No win in 7, and they trail at home to Sheffield United. Ben Brereton Diaz, back on loan at Sheffield United, puts the Blades in front at Pride Park. Now Iwobi getting away down the left-hand side, finds Traore at the edge of the area. Iwobi now trying to tee up him, and as he might go alone. Iwobi slides it into Traore, clips it to the far post. Bassi with the header way over the top. That was another swift counter-attack from Fulham, but another cross that comes to nothing for the visitors. 1-0 Newcastle.
I probably said this in the first half, Dan, but there's actually something here for Fulham today. The amount of times they're getting themselves into good areas, but they've just got to be that little bit more patient, a bit more savvy in the final third. Somebody just try something out of the ordinary. Calma Bassi's done absolutely brilliant down that left-hand side. Used his body strength, he's put a nice ball into the area, comes to Iwobi, can he get his shot away? No. Then the cross comes in, it's kind of floated across, there's no sting in the cross, there's nobody kind of, busting a gut, if you like, to get on the end of it. Because Bassi there, the header, it's miles over the top of the crossbar, but just show a bit more intent.
Fulham coming forward again with the ball floated from deep into the area by Robinson, but that was a more comfortable claim for Martin Dubravka this time. Tranmere 1, Colchester 2. Tranmere get a goal back in League 2 through Christian Dennis. And now Bassi at the other end, trying to let the ball run over the dead ball line and stop Murphy getting around him, which he did pretty successfully. So it's a goal kick to the visitors away to our left. We played 5 minutes of the second half on Game Day exclusive. Newcastle leading by that Jacob Murphy goal on his 200th appearance for the Magpies. Joelinton wins the ball back, was caught slightly as he won the ball back, and he stayed down, given away. And here come Fulham with Joaquin Anderson looking for Adama Traore. Right-hand corner of the penalty area, slips it into Anderson, who continued his run, trying to wrap his foot round it, but it was well defended by Dan Byrne, and it went behind for a goal kick to Newcastle away to our right-hand side. Newcastle 1, Fulham 0. Mickey Gray.
Well, it's still an open game, isn't it, in the second half? It's not like Newcastle are trying to sit in and soak up a little bit of pressure. Just over the last couple of minutes, both sides being a little bit sloppy and giving the ball away in bad areas. They are trying to get the ball forward for them. It's just, again, it's the two wide players. I don't want to keep harping on about them too much of Fulham, Iwobi and Traore, but that final pass into the box is just, it's got to improve.
Championship leaders Leeds United look like they're going to go 13 unbeaten. They lead Cardiff 3-0 at Ellen Road. Daniel James with the third, and Blackpool 0, Charlton 1. Matt Godden has put Charlton ahead. Morecambe in front again against Fleetwood in that local derby. Andrew Dallas makes it Morecambe 2, Fleetwood 1. Talk Sport 2, Saturday afternoon in the northeast. Newcastle leading Fulham by a 1-0. Foul by Castagna on Gordon, right next to the Fulham technical area. Marco Silva keeping his thoughts to himself, I think, on this occasion.
Yeah, I think he has to be quiet on this occasion. Just having a look at Joe Linton there, Dance, as well. He's just had a word with the Newcastle management there. I think we might be seeing a change as well. He took that little whack on his ankle moments ago. And
Smith Rowe, yeah,
and he's just had a word with him just to say, look, I'm not quite sure my ankle's going to see me through to the final whistle.
Free kick to Newcastle, right in front of the Fulham technical area, to be taken by Lewis Hall, with the Toonami attacking the Lees' end away to our left in this second half on TalkSport 2. Hibs 2, Aberdeen 0. Nicky Cadden for the second for the Hibees. In comes the free kick from Hall. It's dangerous, it's bouncing just in front of Bernd Leno, but nobody in a black and white striped shirt was able to run across the goalkeeper and get a touch. Dan Burn was closest to ball. 1-0.
Tracking back there, Dan Burn, getting himself back into position. I think he's got to be more of a threat. You think about the height he's got, and he's decent in the air as well. I think his goals and his goals assists could certainly rise, there's no question of that, but he's doing a really good job actually staying in the Newcastle team. When you think Botman's waiting in the wings, I don't know whether he's going to take his place or not in the next couple of weeks.
Well, he did come back, didn't he, Botman, but he was part of the team that lost heavily here against Bournemouth, so maybe Eddie Howe was thinking, I'm not going to rush him back.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of managers are starting to do that more often than not now, Dan's. Bigger squads are able to bring players back slowly but surely. Probably the only side who can't do that at the moment is Tottenham. Van der Ven just got back into the team, and I think he's going to have to play over the next couple of weeks.
Adama Traoré for Fulham, who trailed by a 1-0, trying to tuck the ball around Lewis Hall, but he's fouled him, and Joe Linton trying to keep possession for the visitors. And he's just said to this, how is that a free kick? How? Free kick it is, though. Port Vale 1, Accrington Stanley 1 in League 2. Stanley equalised through Tyler Walton. Wins earlier today for Nottingham Forest, emphatically going level with Arsenal on point to the table, 7-0 against Brighton. You heard that on TalkSport at lunchtime. First win since early November for Plymouth, live on TalkSport 2 as they beat West Brom late on by 2-1. Oxford and Bristol City drew. Barnsley and Burton drew. Stevenage beat Exeter 4-1 for 4 straight wins. Cheltenham 1, Chesterfield 0 in League 2, and Notts County into second in League 2 after a 2-1 win at Gillingham. Bassey tucking the ball back to Bernd Leno. Clears up to halfway. Charlton have a second at Blackpool through an own goal from Oliver Casey. And Blackpool were on a very good run, 6 unbeaten before today. But Charlton themselves with 3 straight wins, looking for a 4th at the seaside. Not quite at the seaside here, but we're not that far away.
No, we're not. Getting that fresh air from the North Sea, though, Dance, aren't we?
I don't mind it at all, as long as it's not raining, because where we sit here at Newcastle... Oh! It's given away by Anderson. Oh, the whistle's gone. Anderson was just dawdling on the ball outside his penalty area, and Isak took it off his toe, but there was an offside flag going to go up against Isak, who didn't realise it, thought he could just take the ball off Anderson. Slightly comical moment there.
It's a bit bizarre, though, isn't it, from Anderson? Just, you're thinking it's a centre-half. Well, I know he's offside, but I've still got to deal with the ball until I see a flag and hear a whistle.
Now he's hit the ball long downfield for Fulham, and it's on to Jimenez, controlled at the edge of the area, and he's put it wide from the penalty spot, but it's a corner kick and took a deflection on its way past the post. Great skill from Jimenez, dumped a couple of Newcastle defenders onto the seat of their pants, and the shot was deflected narrowly wide for a Fulham corner at the Gallagher end. 1-0 Newcastle.
Oh, I think he has to score. I really do. He's done absolutely fantastic. The chest touch is absolutely brilliant, but he's got the whole goal to aim for. I think he's got to put that in the back of the net, Jimenez.
In the end, it's a corner on Newcastle's left-hand side. Lukic to take it, right-footed in-swinger to come from him, right underneath the crossbar, and it goes wide. Dubravka was watching it all the way. Anderson was trying to slide in at the far post. Nothing doing. Goal kick Newcastle as MK Dons equalise at Doncaster in League 2. Scott Hogan with a goal for the Dons, and John Marquis has equalised for League 1's bottom side Shrewsbury at home to Mansfield. That's 1-1. And Northampton 3, Huddersfield 0. 1 win in 10 for the Cobblers, but Liam Shaw's given them the third against Huddersfield Town who started the day in 4th. It's a mad division. Well, they all are, aren't they, in their own way?
They are.
In the Premier League, Liverpool lead at Bournemouth by a goal to 0. Everton 3-0 up against hapless Leicester. And the bottom two, Ipswich and Southampton, currently drawing 1 apiece at Portman Road. Forest thrashing Brighton at lunchtime, as I mentioned. 7-0 the final score at the City Ground. Now Fulham getting away down the right. Sasa Lukic pulling the ball back from the dead ball line, chested down by Guimaraes, who volleys it clear. More frustration for Marco Silva as we move past 20 in terms of crosses into the box. I think that's 22 or 23 now, none of which have brought an effort on goal, never mind a goal.
Yeah, it's a decent ball in this time, isn't it, from Lukic over on this right hand side. He's got a bit of pace behind it, but where's the movement from the Fulham players?
Castagna with a cross now, blocked behind by Hall for a corner kick as Birmingham City equalise at home to Rotherham. Jay Stansfield in the second half, 1-1 there. Port Vale go back in front against Accrington Stanley in League 2. Laurent Talay makes it 2-1 to the Valiants. And Crewe equalise at Harrogate. Chris Long making it 1-1 up there in North Yorkshire. I say down there in North Yorkshire because I'm up here in Tyneside. Anyway, point is, corner kick to Fulham at the Gallagher end, right wing. So right-footed outswinger to come from Lukic. In it comes. Headed goals by Jimenez and deflected wide by Newcastle head for another corner. Got free there and didn't have to jump much either, Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, it's a good header. Livramento just found himself in the right place at the right time. Just needed the ball to ricochet off him. Another corner. This is pressure from the away team.
Lukic again spotting the corner down, just down to our right-hand side at the Gallagher end. Smith Rowe is there for a kind of short corner at the right corner of the area. In it comes to the near post, flicked on by Murphy, and Jimenez again with a free header, but steered it way over the top. And you're listening to Newcastle 1, Fulham 0, with nearly an hour gone on TalkSport 2 with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Wolves versus Aston Villa in the local derby, live today. Search Now Sports. Ian Danter and Mickey Gray with you at St James's Park. Still plenty of noise around us, but this game is by no means in Newcastle's grasp just yet. Joe Linton's still out there. He did, as Mickey Gray mentioned, motion to the bench that he was carrying a little knock, but he's not been replaced yet. Graham Jones is just having a little chat with Eddie Howe. Graham Jones, part of the coaching staff, who was up here in the first half observing things that were going on, and now he's joined his manager down in front of us on the touchline. Morecambe 3, Fleetwood 1 in that local derby. Andrew Dallas gets his second and Morecambe's third to extend their lead at the Globe Arena. So 1-0 to Newcastle, and they've got a free kick about 7 or 8 yards inside the Fulham half of the field. Fulham defending their line about, 25 yards from goal. Hall puts in a diagonal ball, headed away by Anderson, but it will be picked up by Isak, who's had a relatively quiet afternoon so far. Picks it up now though, drifts infield 30 yards out. We won't be watching him, so he can't take the shot on. Given away by Newcastle, and away comes Jimenez, trying to launch a counter-attack for Fulham. 2 players ahead of him, and one to his right in Traoré, who's now piling forward. Traoré lifts the ball to the far post, brought down by Robertson, volleys it across. Jimenez with a sensational equaliser for Fulham. What a wonderful counter-attack, and the Fulham fans going wild in the top tier of the Leazes end, as well they might, because they just watched their team sweep from one end of the pitch to the other, having won the ball back. And then Anthony Robinson with a little volley cross, the first time a cross has come off for Fulham, and it's slammed home by Raul Jimenez, and it's 1-1.
I tell you what, you go a long way to see a better goal, a better team goal than that this weekend. It's Raul Jimenez who wins the ball back in his own half. He runs, plays the ball out to his right-hand side, keeps his run going, and that little diagonal from Traoré. Anthony Robinson, first-time pass, and what a finish that is. I've counted 3 or 4 big opportunities for Fulham in this second half. They've been waiting to get themselves back on level terms, probably deserved to. Slight deflection on his finish, but he won't care about that. It's a brilliant equalising goal.
9th Premier League goal of the season for Raul Jimenez. And although Anthony Robinson will get the assist, another one to make it 10 for the season, he could give assists to all the others, Traoré and so on and so forth. All square at St James's Park with 62 minutes gone on TalkSport 2. Now it's Jacob Murphy. Oh, he beats his man, gets to the byline, plays it along the deck across the face of goal, and cleared behind for a corner kick at the Leazes end to the home side by Joaquin Anderson. 1-1.
Well,
Game on.
Eddie Howe will be hoping that's kicked his side into gear in this second half, because they've not got going, Newcastle. They need that 12th man, and that's the crowd. They've got to get behind them. Got to start putting pressure on this back line of Fulham.
Trippier and Willock being readied by Newcastle as an immediate change just down beneath us. 1-1, corner to Newcastle. And it's going to be a left-footed in-swinger from Gordon right into the crossbar. Burn heads it down, but it bounces into the turf and actually makes the save easier for Bernd Leno. 1-1.
Well, they aimed for the right man, didn't they? I mentioned it, Dan Burn needs to stock up on the tally of goals, I think, personally, in seasons, because he's such a threat in both boxes. He's got to start doing more.
Yeah, he's not scored this season, you're right, Mickey.
Yeah, he needs to get a bit more power on his header there, didn't he? Because if you think about that header there, Dance, it's a free header, really.
Well, it would be when he's 6'7" most of the time. Gordon driving for Newcastle down the left-hand side, but showed too much of that to Castagna, who slid in well and put it out of play for a Newcastle throw. Will this herald the arrival of Joe Willock and Kieran Trippier? No, looks like Newcastle are going to take the throw. 10 yards from the corner flag down this near side. Tranmere 1, Colchester 3. No, actually the changes are being made. Straight swap at right back. Trippier on for Livramento. And it is indeed Joe Linton who's making way for Joe Willock after that little knock in the second half. But Nostradamus, that is Mickey Gray, called that about 10 minutes ago.
Well, I think it was quite easy when I seen straight in front of me that he was shaking his head, and it looked like that.
Take the credit.
All right, I will. For one stance, I will. But I think there's too many of the stars of Newcastle have not turned up today. Isak, you mentioned before, he's not really got involved in the game. Yeah. He'll probably have his moment, there's no question. He's too good of a player not to. But Joe Linton, you look at that midfielder, Guimaraes has not really been the midfielder that we know he is, and I think that's really helped out Fulham, and take nothing away from them. They've been fantastic. Fulham
again with Sander Berge sliding it out to the right-hand side. Traore. Oh, Hall slipped. Can Traore go outside of him? No, he's back on his feet now. But Traore chips another ball out to the left-hand side, brought down by Iwobi, running away from the penalty area. Gets it back to Anthony Robinson. Time to measure across him, maybe. No, he tucks it in field for Emil Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe darting down the left-hand side of the box. Jimenez tees up the shot from the edge of the area from Robinson. Blocked out to Sander Berge. Doesn't take the effort on goal. Traore now up to the edge of the box. He tries the shot. That's ambitious. Blocked by Willock. But it comes out to the right-hand side, and Castagna, lovely deep cross to the far post, headed away by Trippier. Corner kick to Fulham at the Gallagher end, and they're pushing to come from behind to try and lead here at St James's Park.
Well, the home side are not at it for me, Dance. I think they've come out in this second half and maybe got one eye on midweek against Arsenal, because they just can't get out their own half. When they do, they're not showing the quality in that final third. Newcastle's been all Fulham. 3 or 4, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 big opportunities in his second 45 minutes. Smith-Rowe could have had a couple of goals. Jimenez could have had a couple of goals, and it's all the pressure is coming from Fulham.
Shrewsbury 2, Mansfield 1. They've come from behind Shrewsbury. George Lloyd putting the bottom side in front against the Stags. Corner kick to Fulham. It's 1-1. We're approaching the midway point of this second half on TalkSport 2, and this game is really intriguingly poised now, because Fulham are enjoying themselves out there. They've played well, they've got themselves level. Now they've got this corner. Lukic takes it deep to the far post, headed away by Cher, but Jimenez drifting out to the right-hand side, keeps possession. Iwobi, first time ball into the box, flicked on by Anderson. Oh, it just dropped away from Sander Berge, who could have collected it at the far post and swung a shot in at goal. Instead, he's now having to hold up Murphy as Trippier plays a ball over halfway that's too long and too straight. Went between Isak and Gordon, and Fulham have it back 1-1.
Oh, well, again, didn't come to anything in the end, but the ball into the box has got better, hasn't it, from Fulham in his second half. When it falls to Sander Berge there, he just needs to sort out his first touch. Yes, it's coming to him, it's an instinct first touch. It doesn't quite come off for him, but it gets a big chance for Fulham.
Now, Calvin Bassett just passing the ball straight out of play, wrong-footing Anthony Robinson. 1-1 here on TalkSport 2, midway point of the second half. Here's Murphy, out to Isak in the right wing position, crossing, oh, complete miss, right in front of goal by Joe Willock. His first involvement proper in the game, and he just swung and missed at the ball at the near post.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it? Could he have gone with his left foot?
Oh, the ball's now safely back in the possession of Bert Leno from the Fulham perspective. But you can hear a roar going around St James's Park. They want their team to get back on the front foot. And it was the right foot of Joe Willock that should have connected with Isak's cross. Just couldn't sort his feet out in time, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, sometimes, you come off the bench, you give him the benefit of the doubt. I still think he's got to make contact with a ball.
Murphy. Oh, lovely reverse ball for Dan Burn down the right wing. Gets to the byline as he won a corner. No, it's kept in play by Berger. And then Iwobi and Bassi rise to the challenge, fires it up to Jimenez. Brilliant close control from Jimenez on his chest, Trippier at his back, but he is dispossessed in the end. But then Trippier treads on the ball. That allows Fulham to come away with the ball. Traore collects it in the centre circle, just over halfway. Jimenez takes over. Castagna to his right, slides him in inside the area. Castagna drives for the byline, wins a corner off Dan Burn. Angle was tightening, didn't fancy the shot there, the Fulham right back, but they've got another corner at the Gallagher end. 1-1, great game.
Well, how good's Raul Jimenez been in his second 45 minutes? He's everywhere. He's helping out defensively. He's just on his haunches at the moment, probably getting a bit of a breather. He's involved in a build-up play and a little give and go with Traore in the centre circle, plays a nice ball out to the right-hand side. He's got an eye for it this afternoon, no question of that.
Leeds 5, Cardiff City 0 in the Championship. Nonso, Smith Rowe from a short corner, whips it into the Newcastle area, headed out by Guimaraes, brought down though by Robinson, who's the last man back for Fulham, and that's deep inside the Newcastle half. Nobody on halfway in black and white. Sent back into the box by Jimenez. Up goes Traore. Leaves Burn on the deck, and he's fouled him, says Chris Kavanagh, the referee, and Newcastle get a free kick. Now, Marco Silva might be deep in conversation with his coaching staff here, might be considering a change of his own. Newcastle made that double switch, bringing on Trippier and Willock for Livramento and Joe Linton. 1-1 the score, just over 20 minutes to play at St James's Park. Don't forget the game day phone in on TalkSport at 5:30 with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy taking your calls on all of today's action. Andreas Pereira looks like he'll be on shortly for Fulham. Bit of pressure on Leno to clear from just inside his own area, on Dubravka rather, to clear from just inside his own area. But he got it clear. Newcastle win it back. Tonali driving up over the halfway line, inside right position for the hosts. Just runs past Trippier, who thought about collecting the ball off him. Lovely floated cross to Lewis Hall, who can pick it up far post at the dead ball line, left hand side. Rolls it back to Anthony Gordon. And now Guimaraes takes over, being faced up by Adama Traore, who's a big old unit. You do well to get round Adama Traore. So it goes back to halfway, and Bruno Guimaraes will try again, this time an even taller figure of Sander Berger in his way. So back it goes to the even taller, and there's nobody taller than Dan Burn out there. Now here's Trippier, finds Tonali. He turned into trouble in Sander Berger, but he still managed to get the ball through to Anthony Gordon, who slides it out to the right wing, and Jacob Murphy. Guimaraes making a run down the right hand side of the box. The dummy by Gordon was meant to get Willock into the game, but he was just off the pace there, and Fulham win it back. Lovely ball in field from Robinson to find Berger, gets into the centre circle, pressurised by Tonali. Flick pass out to Adama Traore on this right hand side, and a quick ball for Raul Jimenez. Castagna's in the middle for a cross. It's overhit, way over the hit by Raul Jimenez, but somehow Iwobi keeps it in play. Oh no, he doesn't, on the far side. Sorry, that was a bit panto of me, but I thought he had, but he hadn't. In fact, it's a double change for Fulham. Not only is Andreas Pereira coming on, but Rodrigo Muniz is coming on as well. Emil Smith Rowe is the player making way for Pereira, and you mentioned Raul Jimenez had put a shift in, and he's really upset that he's being substituted. He can't believe it. He's just slammed his arms against his side. He cannot believe he's being substituted, Raul Jimenez. He was blowing a little bit earlier, but he clearly still feels he's got something in the tank. But Marco Silva, he's the boss, and he thinks otherwise, and Jimenez trudges towards the touchline. Smith Rowe's not exactly sprinting, but Mexican's going to need an explanation from his manager about what's going on here.
Well, Marco Silva's not made eye contact with him since that number went up for Raul Jimenez. You can see he's frustrated. He's coming off the pitch now, and I'm sure there's going to be a handshake and maybe a little brief conversation. Next time he goes to his haunches, next time he goes down on his haunches, he might think again about doing that, because I think that's the reason he's came off the pitch.
It's currently Newcastle 1, Fulham 1 for the latest odds. Head to William Hill, the official betting partner of TalkSport 2's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Newcastle to win it from this position at 2-1, Fulham to win it 16-5, the draw currently priced at even money. That's all thanks to William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org is the website. Grimsby go 2-0 up at Bromley in League 2, just in a Bickwoo. Doncaster 2, MK Dons 1, Rob Street. Hearts 4-0 up at Dundee in Scotland. Newport take the lead against Barrow with an own goal from Carl Cameron. Down in League 2. 73 minutes gone at St James's Park. Ian Dancer and Mickey Gray with you. And it is Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1. Murphy in the first half for the Magpies. Jimenez, who's just been substituted, much to his displeasure, with the equaliser for the Cottagers. Here's Bert Leno, clearing the ball downfield for Fulham, looking for Troy Orey through the middle, but it's comfortably headed back over halfway by Hall. Lovely shield from Tonali, allowing Guimaraes to get into the game. Now Anderson could be in trouble here. He's on a yellow card, but they're taking it quickly, trying to get Isak away in the area. Willock slides it down the left-hand side for Anthony Gordon. Gordon faced up by Castagna, takes it infield, tries a shot, and it's blocked well by Castagna and drifts out to the Newcastle right-hand side. They've kept possession though, the hosts. Trippier teases it out to Murphy, and he went to throw off Anthony Robinson. Now I wonder, Joaquin Anderson, he must be walking a tightrope now on a yellow card, and that could have been classed as a yellow card offence.
Dan, I want to see 11 v 11 at the end of the game, but I've got to be completely honest with you.
Cross comes in, chested back from Castagna to his goalkeeper under no pressure. Carry on, Nicky.
I think he has to go. We've seen it too many times over the last couple of weeks. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's trying to slow the game down, and he's seen by his body language, he looked away from the referee very, very quickly. But I think if that got stopped, he was off.
Now, 1-1. Guimaraes for Newcastle. Out to the right-hand side. Played in field by Trippier. Willock, he's got Isak in space. Left-hand side. Curls it, goal as it hits the bar. Comes out to Cher. Right wing. Can he get the cross in? He is sending the cross into the area. Headed away by Castagna. So quiet this afternoon, Alexander Isak. But then he hits the woodwork. Cher again, right wing position. Plays a low flat ball into the area. Kept in play as Fulham prevent the corner, and then Iwobi shows too much of that to Trippier into the was that handball by Castagna, headed against him from very close range by Anthony Gordon, and the referee says VAR's going to take a look at this. Now Castagna's arms were above his head in an unnatural position, but there is also just how close he was to Anthony Gordon as the cross was fired in from the right. It flicked off Gordon's head onto Castagna's outstretched arm.
It looks a penalty to me, Dance, I have to say. I think it's being waved on. I don't know if Anthony Gordon has got a slight touch on it.
Well, it might have come off the shoulder, I don't know. I only saw one quick replay of that. Hull 1, Stoke 2. Andrew Moran for Stoke, putting them ahead of the MKM. And now a Fulham free kick in their right back position to further frustrate the home supporters. 14 minutes of normal time to play on TalkSport 2. Newcastle United 1, Fulham 1. Northampton 3, Huddersfield 1. Herbie Kane gets a goal back for Huddersfield, may only be a consolation. Morecambe 3, Fleetwood 2. Matty Virtue keeps Fleetwood interested in that game. So, still one apiece. Calvin Bassett fires a long ball downfield over the head of Iwobi. Munith giving chase. Volley clear for Newcastle by Cher. Bounces over Murphy's head, and Robinson's just let the ball trickle out of play for a throw-in. St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 1 in the Premiership in Scotland this afternoon. And Salford have a second at Walsall. Sadler's having a proper wobble. Hakeem Adelakun with a second for Salford at the Poundland Bescot Stadium. And the Salford were on a great run themselves, no winning 4 after 6 straight wins. Ryan Sessegnon coming on in a moment for Fulham. As Newcastle try and get away down the left-hand side with Hall. Gets the cross in, but nobody in the black and white striped shirt at the near post. Thumped clear by Robinson, and then Traore was brought down on halfway by Tonali, and now a yellow card going the Italians' way, much to his disgust. And Ryan Sessegnon may well come on for Fulham before the free kick is taken. 1-1. And it's getting a bit tetchy out there, Mickey Gray.
I think he's a little bit harsh, Tonali, on this situation. I think he made contact with the ball there. Yes, when Traore's running at you, he always looks as if he's going to skip by every player that tries to challenge him, but in my eyes, I think he made contact with the ball.
Alex Iwobi's put a right old shift in for Fulham this afternoon, and he's the one that's making way for Ryan Sessegnon to come onto the field for Fulham. Returned on a free transfer in July, left for Tottenham back in 2019. This is his third substitute appearance in the Premier League since coming back to Fulham. 24 years of age now. And it is kind of a like-for-like swap because we know him as a left-back, but he'd be just as adept, I would imagine, Mickey, in that left of the three going forward role that he's been asked to play, because it's a straight swap positionally speaking.
Yeah, it's a talented player, Session, which is why he got his move to Spurs in the first place, but finds himself back here where he's comfortable. He knows his surroundings. Just needs a run of games, doesn't he?
Bournemouth 0, Liverpool 2. A second for Mo Salah, one from the penalty spot and one from open play as the leaders march on. So Liverpool are 1, Forest are 1, Newcastle trying to keep that top four dream alive, knowing that Manchester City aren't playing until tomorrow at Arsenal. They're the team ahead of them in fourth, but they're 1-1 with Fulham, who are still full of attacking endeavour. Plenty forward in this move. Ball played into the area by Pereira, almost got Rodrigo Manouk in behind, but it bounces through to Dubravka, and again the home crowd raise their voice, asking their team to step it up a little bit and try and seal the 3 points. Trippier, long hopeful ball downfield, but comfortably won by a cushion header from Timothy Castagne. Traore guides it back to Anderson, guides it out to Castagne. Ball infield will find its way through to Traore on halfway. Lukic had slipped, I think he was the intended recipient, but it got away from him. Now Traore has kept the ball and now fires it out to Anthony Robinson, the American, on the left-hand side. Ball in field. Muniz tucks it into the path of Pereira. Poor first touch. Newcastle have it back. Guimaraes sprinting through the centre circle. Isak and Gordon ahead of him. Finds Anthony Gordon with his back to play. Nutmegs Pereira. No foul, says the referee. He went down. And here come Fulham on the counter-attack with Gordon still down. Sessegnon driving through the centre of the field. Slips it into Rodrigo Muniz. Across came Stan Byrne and puts it out of play for a throw, and the Newcastle fans howl in derision at the referee's decision not to give a free kick for Anthony Gordon when he was challenged by Pereira. 1-1.
I mean, he was looking for it, wasn't he, Anthony Gordon? Yes, there's contact there, but you can see he feels like he's going to lose the ball. He's went for the little nutmegs. Pereira's tried to get out of the way of it. He's been played too many times this afternoon, Chris Kavanagh. So I like to see that from the referee. Let the game flow.
Now a free kick as Pereira's pulled down. That's going to wind them up even more. That the guy they thought should have been booked for a challenge wins a free kick down the left-hand side of the Newcastle penalty area for Fulham. 1-1's a good game, this, Mick.
Yeah, very good game. Been really impressed with Fulham. The reaction after going in at half-time, a goal down, to get themselves back on level terms. They showed that real intent. They've had too many opportunities, big opportunities. They could have found themselves in front in this game, and look, the game is miles away from being finished yet. There's a lot going to happen in the final 10 minutes of this game, and Fulham is certainly in the ascendancy on the front foot.
Yeah, we've got 9 minutes of normal time to go, plus whatever Chris Kavanagh wants to add on for stoppages. So Newcastle have a free kick to defend here. Fulham have it down the left-hand side of the area, about 15 yards from the dead ball line and 4 or 5 yards in from the far touchline. Pereira and Robinson are the two players standing over it, and both of them have paced back from the ball at the same time. Hard to tell which of these is going to take it. Right foot of Pereira or left foot of Robinson. Robinson dummies to take it. Pereira whips it in near post, and it's touched in by Rodrigo Muniz. Fulham have turned it around and silenced St James's Park. The substitute Rodrigo Muniz flew it at the near post, from Pereira's whipped in centre, diverts it past Dubravka, and Newcastle have just 8 minutes to try and save themselves and avoid back-to-back home defeats. It's Newcastle 1, Fulham 2.
Well, what a turnaround this has been in the second half, and all they deserve from what I've seen so far out there. It's a brilliant ball in from Pereira over on that left-hand side. He whips it in towards that near post, and Muniz, he just wants it more than his marker. Gets in front of him. Any little piece of contact is going to find its way into the back of the net. It's a great little flick, I have to say, and gives Dubravka absolutely no chance. But the performance I've seen from Fulham in his second 45 minutes thoroughly deserved to be in front.
Well, it begs the question, who's meant to be marking Rodrigo Muniz? Was it Isak? Was it Cher? One of them didn't pick it up at the near post, and it's 2-1 to Fulham. And Marco Silva urging calm on this near touchline, but he doesn't exactly look calm himself. Bit of a contradiction in terms. Gordon plays it through to Isak, 30 yards out, can't quite get the ball under his spell. Bassi wins it back with great strength, then turns into trouble. It's still fired forward by Lukic. Rodrigo holds it up brilliantly on the halfway line, superb tenacity, and he wins the free kick off Dan Burn. He's scored the goal that's put Fulham in front, and now he's gamely battling to keep the ball on halfway. Great centre forward play.
Absolutely brilliant. Again, starts off at the back with Bassi. Fantastic against Isak yet again. He's limping around, but when it goes up to Muniz, look, when you come off the bench, you're frustrated you're not starting a game. You've got to show your manager why you want to be in the starting 11. He's took his goal brilliantly. He's hold up play since he's came on. It's been fantastic.
Free kick to Fulham, who lead 2-1. Lewis Miley and William Osula are being readied by Eddie Howe. You're listening to Newcastle 1, Fulham 2 on TalkSport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Now a yellow card for Andreas Pereira for bringing down Kieran Trippier as Newcastle trying to launch a counter-attack. Goals elsewhere. Carlisle 0, Swindon 3. Joe Wesley with the third for Swindon. Cambridge equalise at home to Wickham 1-1. Josh Stokes. In the FA Trophy, Spennymoor 2-0 up on 2-2 with Boston United. I beg your pardon. Hearts 5-0 up at Dundee. And Walsall get a goal back at home to Salford. 2-1 Salford lead. Danny Johnson with a goal for the Saddlers. Newcastle 2-1 down. Had the ball at the edge of the Fulham box, but anywhere will do from Lukic. That's the sort of clearance I would put in when somebody told me, find someone to feet. And I go, stuff that. It's just going as far from goal as possible.
Well, this is the point in the game, Dance, isn't it? What, final 10 minutes of the game where Fulham have just got to get themselves into positions and hang on to this lead.
Lovely crossfield ball from Anthony Gordon to find Murphy. Murphy chips the ball into the area, headed away by Anderson, further headed cleared by Pereira. Now Guimaraes trying to protect the ball, flicks it away from Sessegnon and Pereira, tucks it out to Murphy on the right wing. Midway point of the half though, quite deep. Has to go back in field to Bruno Guimaraes, and he has the ball taken off his toe by Sessegnon, does he? Almost. Still managed to find Tonali. And Tonali has to go back to halfway and play a 1-2 with Trippier. Now 5 minutes to go. Tonali bursting down the right-hand side for Newcastle. Cross deflected over the bar. Corner kick at the Leeds' end to Newcastle, who trail by 2-1.
Yeah, you just got to throw the kitchen sink at them at the moment. Corners, wide free kicks. Just take some risks and try and get something out of the game. Wasn't saying that at half-time.
It's going to be a triple change for Newcastle as well. Not just Osula and Miley, but Lloyd Kelly coming on as well in a minute. Meantime, corner kick to Newcastle. Gordon swings it in, deep to the far post, headed away by Rodrigo Muniz. And Adama Traore gets there first, keeps it in play, just lofts it down the right-hand side. Dan Burn gets back, but can't prevent the throw-in. And collides with Marco Silva's left elbow. Didn't mean to, nothing malicious in it. Don't think Marco Silva realised he had a 6'7" lumbering centre-half charging right at him. But here come the changes. Osula, once of Sheffield United, on for Newcastle's goal scorer Murphy. Guimaraes coming off to allow Lewis Miley to enter the fray. And also coming off is Lewis Hall. Lloyd Kelly is going to replace him. So like-for-like switches, no real change you would think, Mickey Gray, in terms of Newcastle's system here.
No, I don't think there will be a change, but the message from the manager to the players that have gone on is make a difference.
Yes.
Give us an impact and get us something out of the game. Fulham's record, Dance, I know they've lost a couple of games of late, but I think what is it, that 6 of the last 7 games they've scored 2 goals in either of those games. And that's not a bad return, that is it, from Marco Silva's side, when you think that they've drawn quite a few games, but those draws have scored goals in them. They've just not been able to hang on to the leads.
Fulham haven't won in 8 at St James's Park. 6 times in those 8 games they've failed to score. Now they're 2-1 up with 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. They're taking off Adama Traore, the muscle-bound winger, and bringing on a stocky defender in Issa Diop, who's coming on as not a straight swap, he's just going to make it 5 at the back for Fulham. What we have, we hold. Don't blame them for that, I guess, in the position they're in. Blackpool have equalised against Charlton, coming from 2-0 down to make it 2-2. Niall Ennis. Northampton 3, Huddersfield 2. Huddersfield not done at Sixfields. And Carlisle get a consolation goal against Swindon. Carlisle 1, Swindon 3. Down in the bottom reaches of League 2. We're at the top of the Premier League here. And Newcastle starting the day in 5th. Liverpool winning, Nottingham Forest winning handsomely earlier today. 7-0 against Brighton, but it is not going Newcastle's way. Fulham 2-1 up with 90 seconds of normal time to play. Long crossfield ball from Cher, picks out Lloyd Kelly, tucks it in field for Gordon. Now Tonali, bit of space to run into, drills the ball into the area, cleared away by Robinson, picked up by Miley. Walsall equalise against Salford 2-2. Danny Johnson with his and Walsall's second. And here, tucking it back to halfway line, is Willock, who missed a great chance at 1-1 to put Newcastle in front. But it's Fulham who lead. Miley can't get the better of Robinson. Sander Berger guides it back out to the American left back inside his own half. Bassey just hits it first time into the Newcastle half, looking for Muniz to make a run. Trippier keeps it in play on the far side of the field. Ipswich 1, Southampton 2. Paul Onuachu, the giant striker, looks to have won it for Southampton at Portman Road. Late on in the Premier League, the battle of the bottom 2. Could Southampton be moving on to 9 points? Newcastle fans, Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy ready to take your calls from 5:30 tonight on the game day phone-in. Diop steps in for Fulham to win the ball midway point of his own half. Now he's made a run through the centre of the field, but he's not been found. But Fulham have still kept possession. Leeds United 6, Cardiff 0. Matteo Joseph with a 6th for Leeds United. Still not the highest goal scorers of the day. That belongs to Nottingham Forest, who scored 7 without reply against Brighton live on TalkSport at lunchtime. The board about to go up from 4th official Rob Jones. 5 minutes Newcastle have got to try and rescue a point here at home and avoid successive home defeats in the Premier League. Anthony Gordon pirouettes away from Sasa Lukic, brings the ball up 30 yards out, clears it in field. Miley lets the ball run across his body, and a free kick's been given for the foul on Gordon as he released the ball to Miley. He was caught, and that will be a free kick to Newcastle just beyond the midway point of the half, left hand side. They trail 2-1 Newcastle. Mickey Gray.
Well, this back line of Fulham is going to be tested in these final 5 minutes of added on time at St James's Park, because it's Anthony Gordon just got himself on the half turn there. They've got a great opportunity now just to whip it into a dangerous area, and I'd be looking at that far stick. Dan Burn, can he get himself free? Can he just get that little half a yard to get Newcastle back on level terms?
Gordon to take this free kick 35 yards from goal to the left of centre. Fulham holding their defensive line at the 18-yard line. Into the 2nd minute of added time. Gordon's free kick swung in, headed wide. It was Lloyd Kelly who got the flick header but couldn't divert it anywhere near goal. And Fulham will take their time over this goal kick, leading 2-1. Crawley have equalised against Wrexham in League 1. Bradley Ibrahim making it 1-1 in the 90th minute. Swindon have scored a 4th at Carlisle. 4-1 they lead. Paul Glatzel with the Robins 4th. And 1 or 2 drifting away from St James's Park. Not from the away end, though, I hasten to add. Up in the Leazes end there, preparing to celebrate, doing the double over Newcastle. They won 3-1 at Craven Cottage early in the season, and a yellow card for Bernd Leno for taking too long with the goal kick.
Yeah, there's going to be no rush dance, is there, till they hear that full-time whistle from any Fulham players now. They've just got to try and soak up pressure, see the game out. You said 2008, 2009, I think they did the double the last time on Newcastle. This is a huge win if they can hold on.
Long hopeful ball punted downfield, but comfortably headed back by Anderson to his goalkeeper Bernd Leno, who beckons his defenders to get upfield. He's just going to put his foot through this and get it down the other end of the field. The German keeper clears from hands. We played 2.5 minutes of the minimum 5 that have been added on. Fulham hanging on here. What have Newcastle got left? They've got to win the ball back first, and they do with Kieran Trippier, who nods it back to his keeper Dubravka, bowls it underarm to Dan Burn, urged forward by the Geordie faithful all around us here. Gets up to halfway, Burn, then plays a square ball back for Fabian Schär. And now a square ball to Burn. That's going to frustrate the locals even more. A bit more of a progressive pass played forward, but it went straight to Castagna. His clearance comes back to Burn. Newcastle have it again. 2 minutes of added time to go. Fulham 2-1 up. Schär with a diagonal ball, picks out Kelly on this near side. The Newcastle left, tucks it in field to Gordon, gives it back to Kelly down the left hand side of the area, cross along the deck, cleared away by Diop at the near post, comes back out to Kelly. Support from Anthony Gordon, approaching the left hand corner of the box, crosses blocked by Castagna, but nobody in a Fulham shirt on halfway, so Tonali can retrieve. 90 seconds of added time to play. Trippier for Newcastle just beyond the halfway line, thinks about sending a long ball downfield, but instead gives it to Burn in the centre circle. Tonali now has it, strokes it out to Kelly on this near side, the left. Midway point of the half, Isak tries to give it back to Kelly with a reverse pass, but Lukic wise to it and cleared it out of play for a throw-in. 2-1 Fulham, they're hanging on here.
Oh, why did Lloyd Kelly, I mean, he's trying to play a ball into the area along the ground. He's got to dink that towards the far post to give any of his teammates the opportunity.
Sander Berge just clears it, launches it downfield. Trippier gets there way ahead of Rodrigo Muniz. We're into that last minute of the minimum 5 that's been added on TalkSport 2. Trippier hits a Hail Mary downfield, looking for Gordon, headed away by Castagna, but it'll drift into the Newcastle half. Barrow have equalised late on at Newport. Conor Mahoney makes it 1-1 at Rodney Parade in added time. Newcastle 2-1 down. Long, hopeful ball downfield from Tonali, headed away by Anderson, comes back to the Italian Tonali. He's going to drill another ball to the right-hand corner of the box. The giant Dan Burn looks to win the header. Got something on it. Schär pulls it back from the byline. Well held at his near post by Bernd Leno, and he just stays on the deck, holds onto the ball, and that may well be that. 2-1 Fulham.
Yeah, you think that's it now. Leno is not going to rush to try and clear his lines now, but I think we probably will hear the full-time whistle. And what a big performance and result from Fulham here this afternoon.
We played the 5. It's up to Chris Kavanagh how much more we play. Burn tries to cushion the header down for himself, but gets it all wrong. The full-time whistle goes, and Newcastle United have suffered back-to-back home defeats. Whilst their form has been fantastic of late, to lose your last 2 home games jeopardises a top 4, top 5 finish for sure. And Fulham have done the double over Newcastle United, and it was the substitute Rodrigo Muniz who got the winner. He came on for Raul Jimenez, who'd equalised in the second half after Jacob Murphy had put Newcastle United ahead. Super equaliser from Fulham, a real team goal to bring them level on the counter-attack. And then Pereira's free kick from out wide, whipped into the near post. Muniz did the rest, and Newcastle had no response after going behind. I can't think of a save that Bernd Leno had to make in the closing stages. Fulham do the double. Newcastle lose twice at home in succession in the Premier League at the start of one of the biggest weeks of any season that they've had in recent times, with their 2 cup ties to come. But they go into those cup ties not in good heart, because the full-time score here is Newcastle United 1, Fulham 2.